Hi there, friends. It looks like I'm live, but it's always a little bit behind, so I'm just waiting for it to catch up. While it does that, I am going to get this pulled up on my phone as well. All right. Sorry, YouTube is being, hold on. It's not being super cooperative. Give me 1 second. It looks like I'm live. Let me. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. My mouse died right before going live, and I am not super fantastic with my laptop mouse and all that. So, okay, I've got everything pulled up on both sides here, so we should be good to go. Well, hi friends. Welcome to YouTube Live, our normal YouTube Live on Tuesdays. Yes, that is Heather commenting behind the Pinkfresh Studio name today. So Heather did our sneak peek live last week on Facebook. So normally we try to do a combined live, but unfortunately I just was not really in a good place, I guess, to do a live. We had to say goodbye to our 18-year-old Yorkie last week. So, and while I know it was the best decision for him, it was not an awesome decision for me. So last week was a little hard for me. And so thank you for your grace and me not doing a combined live, but I'm looking forward to creating with some of our other brand new product that just released yesterday. Today I'm going to focus on the Chrysanthemum washi tape product suite. So I'm excited to use that today. Now, if you were part of our scrapbooking event, you received the Chrysanthemum washi tape and die in your event kit. So we have also since completed that product suite, and we have added the coordinating stamp and stencils. So if those were something you wanted to add to complete your collection, now is the time to grab them. Or if you weren't part of the scrapbooking event, you can grab all four. Thank you guys. I appreciate your kind comments. My little Cocker Spaniel is still here. We got her a new fluffy bed that she really seems to love. She's getting to try it out today for the first time, and she hasn't left it much. So, but thank you guys. I appreciate that. All right, before we get this camera flipped around and we get going on our card today, a couple things just to go over. First things first, we would love it if you could give this video a thumbs up. That helps the video reach both currently while it is live and then also on the replay. So hopefully, by doing that, it helps reach other crafters who maybe couldn't be here live, but would still like to watch some cards come together live. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. It is hard. Bailey was my first pet, so I didn't know how hard it would be, and definitely is not the easiest thing in the world to do. And then also we give away a $15 gift card code at the end of every live. So all you have to do is already what you're currently doing, just chat with us in the live chat. They all act as extra entries into the giveaway. Now, if you share it, that is an extra entry, and let me let you know how you do that. So underneath the video, there's a little arrow button and it says share next to it. If you click on that, you can share however you prefer. You could share it in an email or a message with crafty friends. You could share it on your personal Facebook page. You can share it in a Facebook group as long as it's allowed, just to make sure the rules allow that. Some don't. So if you have like crafty groups that you frequent, you can share it there. And then just come back and let us know that you shared in the comments, and that just acts as an extra entry. All right. So thank you guys. Thumbs up, sharing. We love it. We appreciate your help in getting, introducing more people to Pinkfresh Studio, or just reminding them that we have a live going on. Oh, thank you. I like my shirt too. I bought this when the big floods happened this past spring in Montana, right around the Yellowstone area. And proceeds went to helping out families who, you know, their homes were either destroyed or, you know, wrecked and would have had a lot of repairs. So I bought this shirt to show support. Okay, guys, we probably should get this camera flipped around because I do have a lot to do today, because kind of what Heather did last week, I'm going to try to do 2 cards, one with the washi tape and then the other with the stamped and stencils. Before I flip this around, I'm just going to say this right now because I have no idea if it will come through the audio. The house right next door to us was recently sold and purchased, and they are gutting it and remodeling it. So it's loud. They work on it all day long. It just started yesterday and I'm already annoyed, and I'm trying not to be annoyed because I know it's good for our neighborhood that this house is getting updated. But if you hear loud banging, if you hear things like being tossed in a big dumpster, that is what it is. And I can't help it. So I'm hoping it doesn't come through very often, but sometimes it is really loud. So I apologize for that. There's nothing I can do about it. So if you hear weird, loud noises, that's what it is. Okay, let's get this flipped around and let's get going. All right, we're flipped over to my other camera. Let's maybe turn the down a little bit. If I need to go back to turning the lighting up, I will, but we're gonna see how it works for now. All right, friends, so we are going to use the Chrysanthemum collection today, which includes it's a 4-piece product suite. So you get the washi tape, which I'm going to pull out in a minute so you will see it in full. A 4x12 stamp set. So you've got the larger stamp that has all of the floral elements on it, and then some really fantastic sentiments. There's a die set. So you've got the nice big 1-piece die to cut out all of the elements, and then 2 dies for sentiments, and then a 6-piece layering stencil set. So first things first, so let's go ahead and grab some white cardstock and let's pull out a panel of this beautiful chrysanthemum tape. So this one is not gold foiled. We liked it just as is, kind of that beautiful watercolor finish. We didn't feel like there needed to be a defined line with the gold foiling on this one. So you saw how Heather adheres down washi tape on Thursday. I do it a little bit different just because I make a mess of it the way that Heather does it. So I like to cut my panel apart and then put it down onto my paper. So I always kind of put a little, the middle down first onto the cardstock and then just adhere it out words. Now, if you get little bubbles, our washi tape is pretty darn forgiving, but also keep in mind where the bubbles are, they might just get cut away with the die. So you may not need to worry about that. So we've got our panel of washi tape. Now, I'm not going to die cut this panel yet. We'll do all the die cutting at once, but I wanted to go over how I do adhere the washi tape down onto cardstock or whatever paper you want to use in the back. And isn't it just so lovely? I just love this set. I love the colors of it. I love that you can really use them at any time, but they do have a little bit of a fall feel to them considering we are right smack in the middle of fall. I think that's really lovely. Okay, so we have our washi tape. Oops, sorry, that was an ugly shot of my arm. We have our washi tape all pulled out. And then I'm going to go ahead and we are going to move on. We'll die cut these later. We are going to move on to stamping and stenciling this set as well. Vicki, on one roll of washi tape, you get approximately 43 panels. Now, dependent upon where the washi tape was cut, in the production process, that can give or take 1 or 2 panels there, but typically it's right around the 43 mark. All right, so something that I did learn about this stamp set is one, it doesn't fit inside your standard MISTI. It also doesn't really fit very well at an angle. So I'm going to do the lid hinge method that we have shared before. So I've actually already got it already. So when I do this, I take my travel glass mat and I adhere my MISTI down to it. Oops, and it looks like some of my tape is coming out. So let's just go ahead and get that tape adhered back down. And so I adhere my MISTI down to my travel glass mat. So then I'm ready to I can stamp on it, but then I can move it out of my way and just deal with it later when it's time to put it all together. So then I'm going to go ahead and I am going to grab some white cardstock. I am using 100-pound Hammermill white cardstock today, which I know is sometimes can be hard to find. So you just kind of got to search for it. You might have to place a couple of orders with Amazon before they actually send it to you. Or search, I've heard some people say Walmart, Target, Staples, Office Max. So lots of areas that you can find that. All right, so let's go ahead and grab our big stamp. Now I have already removed this once from the acetate backing, but I'll just go ahead and show you again that when I do this, I try not to pull on the stamp too much. I try to remember to pull on the acetate because I don't really want to stretch the stamp out. Photopolymer is strong, but these are big stamps and we don't want to run the risk of things not coordinating any longer or lining up as well. So I just like to be extra cautious with that. All right, so I've got the stamp lined up on my cardstock panel. And so now I'm going to take the window and I'm going to grab it. And so we are basically stamping with the top of the lid. And now it will stamp, and I can stamp multiple times because it will stamp in the same place. So I'm going to heat emboss this today. To grab my embossing powder, give me 1 second. All right, so I'm going to heat emboss this today. So I'm going to grab my embossing ink. I'm sharing it's 100-pound Hammermill white cardstock. Like I mentioned, I know that's a little hard to find now. So if you have a preferred white cardstock, you can use whatever you have on hand, or you may just have to search a little bit for it. Hopefully sometime in the future, our paper mills won't be in such dire straits, but it is what it is. All right, so I am a light stamper. So I'm going to use my stamp press tool, but because missed a step. So let's go ahead and flip the cardstock around because I totally forgot to prep it with an anti-static powder tool. And we don't want to make a mess of our heat embossing. So let's try this over. And let's prep the cardstock first. Oh, it 100% does fit in a Memory MISTI, but the Memory MISTI doesn't fit on my desk when I have my camera up here. So Memory MISTIs don't work out for me when it comes to lives. So I have to show this method so that I don't bang the camera with the Memory MISTI lid. Okay. Let's try this again. So, and we can't take credit for this little MISTI hack. Of course, I can't remember the name of the person because it was a while ago. Someone in our Facebook friends group shared this with us and we got permission from her to share it. We did, Shannon on our team did a YouTube video about it, and when needed, we share it in lives as well. So whoever that was, Thank you, because this is a great hack for people that don't have the space or the funds for a memory misty, because I know that the memory misty is pretty darn expensive. So this is a great way to make the most of your original misty stamping platform. And I am going to stamp one more time just because I'm a light stamper and I feel like I struggle a little bit with getting a good impression of embossing ink. So I'm going to be a little bit more firm in my pressure here. Okay, hopefully this is, ooh. Well, it's going to have to be because it lifted up on me. So I'm going to go ahead and move this out of my way now because I don't need it anymore. And I will clean my stencil, or excuse me, my stamp afterwards. All right, so let's go ahead. I am going to use Gold Pearl embossing powder today. And then when I go to heat set this, you may have to just bear with me a little bit because this is a big image. So I feel like heat embossing is going to take a bit of time. Jean, if you don't have a travel glass mat, you can just tape it down directly to whatever surface you stamp on. I think you'll see in the video under our tips and tricks section, I'm pretty sure that's what Shannon does. I just do the travel mat because, especially for lives, I can just set it aside and not have to like tape and untape and do all of that. So putting it on the travel mat is just more conducive for lives, but you don't have to do it that way. You can literally just tape it down to any surface. Yes, Dee, this is Dee's favorite powder. I noticed her using it a while back and asked her what it was, and I picked some up and I love it. I think it's such a great gold. So I am using Dee's favorite embossing powder today. All right, I got a better stamp impression than I thought, so I'm thankful about that. All right, so I think that is covered enough. Let's go ahead and get this cleaned up a little bit. I know, Valerie, I need to like buy like 7 of these and put them in one of those big canisters. I just haven't gotten around to doing that yet. I don't think that WOW sells this color in one of the big old vats that you can buy. So, but you're right. It would be a lot easier if I could just have it in a larger quantity. Diane, it is the WOW Gold Pearl embossing powder. Okay, so most of the time Zoom mutes when we turn on our heat tool. So if it's muted or sounds garbled, that's what the issue is. All right, now my Cocker Spaniel is being a little barky, so Hopefully she settles down, but that's, if you hear her barking, she's barking out the front window. So I never feel like my camera white balance in this room gives the gold embossing justice. It's just this really lovely, kind of lighter, more neutral shade of gold, and I just love it. Teresa, I don't heat from the backside. My paper gets a little warped, but it's never too bad that I can't kind of work it out. That's actually kind of what I'm doing right now, is just trying to make it a little bit easier to tape down to my surface for doing the ink blending. However, so I always notice that this embossing powder just needs a little time to set up before you put anything on it, but I think now we're good. I was doing a short little video once and I put my thumb right in it and wiped the hot embossing powder right off. So, but I'm gonna wipe this down because I feel remnants of embossing powder on it and I don't love that. But now we're going to go ahead and get going on the stenciling. So I like to adhere or tape down my panels to my glass mat and then tape the stencils over top of them. There are lots of ways that you can do this. This is just my preferred method. I know Heather typically tapes her stencil down to her thing so she can move it. Some people use stamping platforms, some people use stencil stations. Really, you can do it however you want to. This is just my preferred method. So let's go ahead and grab the stencils. And we are going to start with Sparkling Rose. And I will mention that I am going to be stenciling a little out of order. So I like to complete each layer in full. So basically everything has 2 layers on this one. So the first set of flowers, I'm doing stencils 1 and 3, and then I'm going to 2 and 4, and then we'll end with 5 and 6. So just a little bit out of order today. Let me see, let me get into my video settings. I feel like it got a little dark. So let me see if this helps a little bit with the coloring. Yes, that was a low-tech tape that I put on the back. That is just Post-it tape, but you can really use whatever kind of low-tech tape you have on hand. I just happen to have tons of Post-it tape that I bought in like a big pack once. And then I just use washi tape to tape down the stencils because I feel like it lasts a little bit longer than Post-it tape does. It's a little bit tackier. Funny. It's a little tackier than Post-it, so it lasts a little bit longer as you go through all of the different stencils. So I'm just taking my time to line this up. Now, you'll notice all of our stencils have tick marks or alignment guides in the corner. I am totally ignoring those alignment guides because I am adhering or lining this up to the stamped image. So you don't use the alignment guides when you are aligning with the stamped image. That the alignment guides are only for when you're using the stencils alone for a more of like a soft no line stencil fill. And I feel like that got a little off on me, so I'm going to realign real quick. There we go, much better. Okay, this is my inkstand. So you just get it from the inkstand or inkstandshop.com. My friend Brianne owns that shop. Just a great way to hold your ink pads, and you get a little bit of hands-free motion, and it also keeps your desk from getting any ink on it. Because it keeps your lid. As you can see how much ink is in the top of it, that's all from your lid. So we are going to start with Sparkling Rose today, and we're just going to go to town. I'm going to ink blend in my tried and true fashion. I tend to ink blend deeper either at the base or in the center of a flower. And then I gradually fade that out. So it's a little softer in areas, a little deeper in other areas. It's completely up to you how you prefer to ink blend. What I love about ink blending on embossed images is that embossing kind of gives you some additional areas where the ink kind of pools as it hits the side of the embossing powder, or excuse me, the embossed line. That's why so often you see when I'm using the stamped image, I emboss, just because I love the additional little bit of dimension it can give. All right, so that is stencil number 1, and already pretty, but we're gonna make it even prettier. So I am jumping to stencil number 3 because I like to do all of the layers together. So when you're lining up stencil number 3, this one is really, truly, mostly just about making sure all of those details are inside of the flower so that they don't run outside of where the die might be. So as long as each section is within the flower, you should be good to go. So we're going to jump up. Sorry, my little dog is barking. Mom Full of Joy, this is just a dry lint free cloth that I'm wiping just excess ink off for now. After the live is over, I'll clean these more extensively with some rubbing alcohol that I just keep in a spray bottle on my desk. If you spritz it down a few times with that alcohol, you can then wipe it down with that same dry cloth, and you can wipe your stencils clean. All right, I'm using a smaller brush to do the detail layers. And these are pretty small detail layers. So this is just mostly about getting some color in there. You can do a little bit of shading on the areas that are a little bit bigger, like this guy here. But for the most part, this section is just more about getting some additional ink color in there. Oh, of course, no worries. We love to answer your questions. I did actually forget to mention this in the intro. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit rusty on lives, it seems. I don't see every comment after I start creating. I catch what I can, but Heather is there in the comments, and she is really good about answering as many questions as she possibly can. So she misses most of what I miss. If we both miss it, it's just likely we might have been answering another question, or the comments just went a little quickly for us. All right, so there is a second layer, and look at that. We've got some beautiful detail in that first set of flowers. Keep in mind that right now the colors are really bright. They will soften and kind of get a little bit more creamy and smooth feeling as they continue to dye the paper and sink into the paper. So always keep that in mind whenever you are ink blending with any type of dye ink, which, no matter what company it is, that's always going to be a factor when you are blending with dye inks. All right, so we are on to stencil number 2, and we're lining it up with the other flowers in the set. And I'm just taking my time to line them up here. Well, Elizabeth, I hope that you get your wish and you get to grab this set. Just a reminder, everything I'm using today is linked in the video description. So pretty easy access to grabbing things if you want to get anything that I am using today. Sorry, my washi tape is not cooperating with me very well, so I'm struggling with it. Okay. So for our second set of flowers, we're going to do purples. So I am going to start off with the lightest shade of our purples, which is this soft lilac. And I want to make sure I have all of the pink picked up from that where I had dabbed it off. Jane is asking if there are any rules or tips for choosing colors when stenciling. I think the biggest rule, Jane, is to just always make sure that the colors will complement each other if they get mixed. So you'll see that these are pretty separate from one another, so the pink and the purple aren't combining. But if they did, that would be okay because they wouldn't make an icky color. Now, if these were going to be overlapping one another and say I was picking like purple and orange, where those overlapped, you would get kind of a really icky color, a shade that matches or that would create from those combining. So I think that is the biggest rule. I think that you can really play around a lot with color combos together. But if the colors are going to lay on top of one another, you want to make sure that they're not going to make a yucky color when combined. So I think that would probably be the only rule to follow. Okay, so that layer is complete. Let me get my little brush cleaned off real quick. And let's remove that and look at how beautiful that is. Oh, Kathy, I'm glad you ordered this set. Hopefully you'll be able to share with us what you create with it. There's lots of ways you can share with us. You can share with us on Instagram. Just make sure you use our tag, which is hashtag Pinkfresh Studio. You can share in our Facebook friends group. Lots of ways. So, all right. So we are on to stencil 4. And this one, I am just trying to find the best place for lining it up. And I think I just found it. It was taking me a minute to find it. So don't get frustrated if you feel like it's taking you a little bit to line them up. This is my first time using this set. So I haven't used it in the past, so I'm not real versed in where all of the layers go. So just take that little bit of extra time to find it. And mostly, of course, when you're using these detail layers, most often the best bet is to just get it so it's lined up within the floral image. So we're going to jump up a couple of shades of purple to candy violet. I'm going to go ahead and use a smaller brush again. And we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to get some color in there. I'm going to focus a little deeper in the centers on the ones that I can. And then on the other ones, it's just more about getting some color in there, like this little guy down here. And even this one up here as well. Okay. Thanks for giving the thumbs up. If you haven't done so yet, we would love for you to do that. It just helps the reach of the video. Super helpful to us. Okay. All right, so we have completed the flowers. We've got a couple stencil layers left. We're going to do our greenery. Just doing a little brush cleanup real quick. All right, so let's take a look at this layer. And our flowers are coming right along. Okay, so now we are on to stencil. Let me find my glare. Gotta find my glare. There it is. Stencil number 5, which is the first layer of greenery. And if you know me at all, you know the colors I picked for greenery. I was thinking about doing something different. I was thinking about doing like blues, but I just was feeling the aqua colored greenery yet again, especially with the pink and the purple flowers. So that's what we're sticking with it. So for the first layer, we are going to use aquamarine. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you're liking how this is coming along. All right, let's get some aqua loaded up in our brush here. And then For me, I typically blend deeper at the middle or the bottom and then blend that greenery out. Totally up to you how you want to do that. Kathy, that's a great idea. The adding the Sharpie over top of the stencil number, because I use my products for marketing images and such. I don't do that just because so that the photos still look nice when I take them if I need to include photos of the stencils. But that is a great way to make it easier to see the etched numbers. So you can do a black Sharpie. I've heard people say they just rub black ink in there. I've heard some people say paint. So lots of things you can rub in there to make them a little bit more or a little bit easier to see. More layers here. Blend in. Oh, and she's back. My little Cocker Spaniel made her way back to her new fluffy bed. I think she found a new favorite. Okay. All right. And I am going to use glitter drops today. I think I checked the inventory on all of the colors that I think I'm planning on using. That can always change, of course. We know a few of the colors are out of stock, but we do have the glitter drops on reorder and kind of an expedited reorder. So if there are out of stock glitter drop colors that you are really wanting, be sure to sign up for a restock notification, because then you will get an email once we restock. All right, we are on the final stencil. We are on stencil number 6. Let's get this guy lined up here. Oh, nail polish. That's a good idea too. What if you do the second detail layer of leaves with a different color? I'm not going to do purple because that will make brown. And that's kind of not really the color I'm going for. So I'm going to stick with just the next color up in the aqua. But you could try to change the color on it. I'm not sure. You could do another green. You could maybe do a blue. I think purple would make brown, I'm pretty sure, mixing with aqua. I haven't tried it, but I'm not completely sure. Maybe not. Maybe it would just make another version of purple. I'm going to stick with Mermaid Cove. But you could definitely experiment with that if you wanted. Oops, you know what? Actually, I'm doing the big, yeah, we're going to go with the big brush. These are a little bit bigger details to color in. We're hoping our reinkers will be in soon. They've been on order for a while. We were changing up the packaging a little bit. So I know Kennedy mentioned a date a while back that is, of course, slipping my brain right now. So, but your best bet is always just to sign up for a restock notification, because you'll get an email right when we restock. The glitter drops are, I would say they're a little bit thinner. They have a little bit lower profile than our other embellishment options do. They, of course, I mean, they still have a little bit of dimension to them, but I would say that they're quite a bit lower profile than the other embellishments we have. Let's see here. Okay. We are on our final little bit here. Let's get that excess ink up so I don't waste any of it and blend it in there. Okay. Oh, thanks, Heather. So mid-November-ish. Okay. Let's just kind of buff a little bit of the excess ink off so I don't get it all over my fingers. But we are ready for the final reveal. And look at how pretty those turned out. All right, afterwards, I'm going to clean these a little more extensively, but I'm just going to set them aside for now. But let's take a little bit of a closer look at how lovely those are with a little bit of shimmer and shine from the embossing powder. Love that. Okay, so let's do a little comparison. Where did I put the washi sheet? Hold on. I have seemed to have misplaced the sheet that there it is, that I added the washi. So here's a little comparison. This is the pre-designed washi tape. So it will always be the same color in all of the panels, of course. And then with the stamps and the stencils, you can make your own color choices. So super fun. I love how these turned out. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and die cut out all of these pieces now. So I use a little bit of an extended plate hack for my Gemini Junior. I must mention first and foremost that my Gemini Junior is older and I no longer have a warranty on it. So I say that because these are technically Sizzix extended cutting plates. You use 3 of them to equate the width of a the depth, I'm sorry, of a Gemini cutting sandwich, along with a cardstock shim, and my cardstock shim is just 100 pounds. I mentioned that my machine is no longer in warranty because these are not Gemini branded products. So if you used these plates and you did still have a warranty, I'm assuming it would likely be voided. So my suggestion is if you do still have a warranty on your Gemini, I wouldn't probably use these for now. Not that anything has ever happened, but I don't want to be the person that's like, here's this great hack, and then something happens. So that would just be my mention. I do this because I can. I don't have to really worry about that part anymore. You can always double cut, or you can always cut, your panel in half and cut it out twice. So there's options for you. But because I can, I'm going to go ahead and cut this all at once with the extended plates. Right. So some of this tape off here. And I have my little dish that I can put them into. All right, so there will be a couple of chads that need to get poked out of these. Right. I've got to get this all poked out because I don't like them going through a second time. Okay, yes, we love the larger dies. We know that it makes standard size die cut panels or cutting plates a little bit more complicated, but hopefully we give enough ideas for figuring that out. Whether you're double cutting or you're cutting the panels in half and only having to cut twice, there's lots of different options. All right, Heather will catch that. So it looks like we have a troll, but Heather will catch it here shortly. Take care of it. I love the large dies, friends. You always want to take a little bit of extra time to line them up because they're a bit pretty big. And you want to make sure you tape them down really well before you run them through your machine, because they do have more of a tendency, if they're not taped down, they have more of a chance to shift than, like, say, a smaller die would. So I do suggest making sure that you have them taped down real well. All right, I'm going to tape this down a couple of areas. Okay. All right, go ahead and run this through. Oh, it looks like the trolls are going to keep Heather busy today. All right. Okay, I am not going to add the stamped or the heat embossed version in with the washi, because I want to, these are going to go on different cards. So let's just go ahead and poke those out. Yes, it is a bummer when your die shifts on you and you know, gets a little bit out of alignment. I find that frustrating too. If that happens, my suggestion is to maybe just do a little bit of fussy cutting. If your white edge is just a little bit off, and try to save what you can, because it's oftentimes you might be able to tuck a section of it behind something where nobody would even notice that the cutting got a little bit off. I noticed that it doesn't tend to shift too much on me if I haven't taped it down well enough, where I can't say that I probably have ruined the images, but maybe the outer white edge is not exactly perfect. So I always try to find ways to maybe doctor it a little bit, to be able to be able to use them again. So I think what I'm actually going to do, I'm just going to pop all of these in one little thing. I'm going to set these aside because we're going to go ahead and stamp our sentiments real quick. So first things first, you need to grab some scratch purple paper, and I forgot to grab it. So give me just a moment while I find the right shade. All right, so we're going to use this purple for one of the sentiments. We are going to put it on here. And we're going to use one of the sentiments that you can die cut from the stamp sentiment. I think I'm going to go with wishing you all the best. All right. And a little bit of anti-static powder tool. And for this guy, we're going to do it in white. Where did I put my embossing ink? There it is. That one. Stamp it a couple times. My Misty hinge is a little noisy, so apologize for that. All right, that I think good. Let's actually wipe this down and move it off. We will come back to doing another sentiment here momentarily. Let's get this one done first. Okay. This is just Wow white embossing powder. Show you the thing here in just a minute. Opaque, bright white, super fine. Okay. Go ahead and heat set real quick. So there is our first sentiment. And then I'm just going to grab, I know this is going to seem weird, just going to grab this little extra circle because we're going to die cut a circle from it. So we're just going to do this nice hello right in the center here. Okay. And this time around, I'm just going to use detail black. So let me grab that real quick. Hi, Stacy. Glad you could join us. Glad you found us. Hope you enjoy what you like. Or hope you enjoy what you're watching, and you'll find us again. Best way to know about our lives is either to check our Instagram stories a little bit beforehand, or you can sign up for our emails, and they get sent out a little bit beforehand as well. So if you want to be know when we have them upcoming in the future. Okay. I will clean that a little bit better later, but we have our detail black hello sentiment as well. Okay, so I'm just going to set that aside for now. So let's go ahead and die cut the sentiments out really quickly. I need the wishing you all the best. So I'll just go ahead and trim this down, and I can use that little last bit of purple some other time. I don't need extended plates for cutting these ones out. So we'll just do that. So we're going to go ahead and get this on here. So I have a feeling I'll probably go a little bit over today, just because I kind of bit off a lot in this card. So you will see here why I just used a circle, because I knew I was going to use the fancy circles just this smaller. Just going to line it up nice and centered here. Okay. All right. And we'll just run both of these through real quick. Yeah, so the dies, when you notice us doing sentiment dies, for the most part, we're adding them in, but we're trying to make sure that we don't increase the cost of your die set. So that's why you don't see dies for every single sentiment, why maybe there's just one or possibly two. We're doing what we can to utilize all of the metal in that set. Alyssa, I'm going to show you the circle set here more closely in just a moment, because I'm using it for the card assembly. So when we do those sentiments, that's what we're just using up as much metal as we can and trying not to increase the cost of your die set. Okay, so we are going to start assembling. I need to create my foam panels. Of course, I missed doing that before. So we're going to just create these really quick. I'll walk you through what I'm doing as I create them. These are just white craft foam that I cut down to size that you can get really at any craft store, you know, like a Michael's or something along those lines. And then this is 5-inch score tape that I use to back each side. And I have just found this to be the most cost-effective way to create full foam panels, because nobody likes a saggy card for your cards. And so that's just it. I get I get the craft foam at like a craft store like Michael's. And then I get the 5-inch score tape either on Amazon, or I might check directly with the company, which I believe is Score Pal, of the 5-inch score tape. Because sometimes they do have sales or discount codes and they send in an email. So I check to see which one is the better price, basically. So now I also need some card bases. All right, let's go over a couple of things that I'm going to use today. So my background panels are going to be these dotted scallop cover plate dies. And then I have created these lovely circle pieces that are going to go on each one. And I created those from our Fancy Circles die set and our Ornate Circle die set. This was in the May Create and Connect card making event kit, but is also available in our shop. Everything is linked in the video description as well. I need to trim a little bit off of each edge, so just give me a minute while I do that. I forgot to do that before going live here. All right, there's one. All right, sorry about that. I had meant to do that beforehand and I just totally forgot. Okay, so we have all of our pieces here. And I just need to create a couple card bases. So I got to pick some card base colors. So I think that I'm going to use the aqua card base for those ones. Yep. And I think I'm going to use one of the pinks for the washi tape. Maybe the darker pink. I'm going to go with a little bit darker card bases this time around. I think because there's going to be so much more white on them, I like having a bit bold card base in the background. So let me just get those created real quick. Card base number 1. Go. Oh, Diane, that's cool that you used the dotted scallops cover plate. Well, it had been out of stock for a while, and I just happened to notice today that it was back in stock, and I really love it. So I thought, since it's finally back in stock, or I finally noticed it was back in stock, that I wanted to use it up. Okay, let's get some foam on the back of this. Now I just trimmed these panels down. You could cut them down with a, like a stitched background die if that's your preference. But I just really wanted the scallop to be the star of the show, so I just decided to trim it down with a paper trimmer. So I'm just going to go ahead and mount each one to each card. Always takes me a minute to find the side that works the best. Well, I don't know why I did that together. That was me just probably trying to rush. I need to stop rushing. If you're going to stick with me, or if you have to go, that's also okay as well. Okay. So there are our card bases. So we're going to add these fantastic little ornate circles onto them, along with the fancy circle options. So I'm going to start with this card. And this one's going to be the stamped and stenciled florals. I'm not sure that I'm going to use that big guy. I might just have to use that in another card. I think we're just going to kind of stick just a few pieces in here and then leave a little bit of room for the sentiment to go. Yep. Okay. So I did go ahead and put all of the foam tape on the back just to save a little bit of time, because I know we're going to probably go well over the 4 o'clock mark here. I'm shooting for 4:10, guys, shooting for 4:10. So hopefully you can stick with me until then. All right, and it looks like Heather did go ahead and pick the winner just in case people need to head out. So congratulations to Mom Full of Joy for winning. Just follow the instructions that Heather gave you for claiming your prize. Yes, I am attempting to make 2 cards, which is what made today end up going a little bit longer, because 2 cards in 1 hour is a lot for me, like a lot. Okay. Stacy, I don't know if it's talented or just ridiculous, because this is a lot of work to take on in an hour. But I wanted to show you guys both the washi tape and the stamp and stenciling. So, and it was a 6-piece stencil set, which those always take a little bit longer anyway. So I knew I had a lot of work ahead of me, but you know what? If hopefully it won't be too much past the 10-minute mark. All right, so then this one, I know I'm going to need to trim it down a little bit. I don't think it's gonna, oh, or maybe I just can find a place where I can tuck it in there. Yep. Okay, so I'm probably going to tuck and add things in and then put glue on the back to get it glued down. I just think that will help me be a little quicker, because it will allow me to get things added down and in the right place. Maybe this little guy too, might focus on the little guys. Yeah, maybe that one right there. Because I do want to have a little bit of room for the sentiment. Okay. So for the sentiment, I need some really thin pieces of foam tape here. This is just thin foam tape that I get on Amazon. It's not branded. And I think all I typically do is just search for thin foam tape. Okay, can add a little bit in the S here. A little bit here, and I think that should be sufficient. Okay. Stacy Allen, yeah, you can absolutely share this in your crafting group. Perfectly fine. Okay. All right, so there is our lovely sentiment. And let's just go ahead and add a little bit of liquid glue into our flowers here. Okay. All right, so there is card number 1. We'll embellish it here in a second, but let's work on card number 2 so that we can embellish them together. All right, so I cut that little circle in just some gold. I'm going to use this as a guide to make sure I like where it's going to land here. All right, looks pretty good. Goodness, they're relentless today, aren't they? All right, and you'll notice I did these a little bit different. So I inverted the, I just did the inner circle a little bit different. In the first card I shared, it's over top of this ornate circle. And then on this one, I tucked it underneath the circle, just to give it a little bit of different looks. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for sticking with me while I finish up 2 cards today. Appreciate it, guys. And thank you, Heather, for dealing with all the trolls. I'm so sorry about that. Such a bummer when that happens. I mean, really, do you just not have anything better to do with your time? Okay, let's get this guy on here. All right, so let's set aside these stamped ones. And look, I have plenty of flowers I can make another card with at a later time. That's what I'm trying to decide if I want to kind of add. Ooh, I like that actually. Coming up just the side a little bit. Maybe tucked in one of these guys. They're not big enough. I may have to trim one. Kind of like that. And then maybe, oh, hold on, except for I got to put this in here. So that may not be an option because I decided to do this. Okay, I need a little bit of clear foam for this guy. So let's get this on here first. Ah, 410 might have been a pipe dream. How about 415? Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay, so now, yeah, that one is not going to work. It's too big. So we may be sticking with more like these smaller little flowers. Thanks, Heather. I know, right? Totally almost forgot about the sentiment. Now let's see. Ooh. Of course, this is where the fussiness in me is not really working very well. Well, that's not so bad, is it? And then maybe I can just kind of tuck some things around it. Well, you know what? Maybe keeping it just a little simpler. Would be better. No. Oh, it would be a very fun Christmas wreath. I agree. Sorry, I get a little quiet when I start to fuss because this part just takes a little extra time here. I think I'm finding what I like here, friends. So thank you for being patient with me while I get this figured out. Okay. Yeah, I think am going to end up probably having to trim a little bit. That's okay. Let's get some glue on the back of this. Okay, there we go. All right. And I'm just kind of fluffing these as I go. Alrighty. I need to add a little bit more. Oopsies. Okay. There we go. Maybe just one more little guy in here. Yep. I know this, of course, a little fussy. That's okay. All right, so I think that is the design we're going to go with. All right. And then finally, let's just get a little bit of bling on these. We are done. So I'm looking at this one and I pulled out Blossom, but I feel like Magenta might be better. So let me grab that and see. Yeah, I feel like the Magenta is going to be a little bit better. Magenta and Blossom. Or Magenta. Okay. There we go. All right. Let's grab that. And that. And I'll probably end up just grabbing one butterscotch. So I'll just grab it from directly in there. I've got to get these off my table. Okay. So let's see here. Let's grab one. I'm hoping Magenta is still in stock. I knew that the ones I had grabbed were all in stock. I'm unsure about Magenta. So super sorry if Magenta is currently out of stock, friends. Just make sure, sign up for a restock notification if it is out of stock, because we are going to restock these ones very, very soon. I think we're going to go like that and just do a couple of cute little trios here and there. One more small guy. Okay. I need more brass triangle trays, apparently. I need to put in a little bit of a wish list, it seems. Okay. Let's clean these guys up. So there's one flat side and one dome side that has a little bit of a facet to it. Although with the glitter, I don't know that the facet is super visible, but it is there. It's a nice little added touch. Oops, stay down. Okay. All right, so there is card number 1. And let's get card number 2 going. Now this one probably would have looked really lovely with champagne colored glitter drops, but those are currently out of stock. So I'm gonna stick with just the purple and the aqua on this one. And maybe also Blossom. So for these ones, I think I'm gonna do just some smaller little trios. So I'm just gonna put out here on my desk. I do feel these are definitely much lower profile than our other items. There's that. Do I want some in the centers? No, I don't like that. Goodness, they are just a little relentless today, aren't they? A little opposite here. All right, and I think those are the trios we're going to stick to. Get these put away. I know, right? We're definitely not the right target audience. They're definitely wasting their time, I think. Okay. Oh, dang it. I like doing multicolors to kind of match the colors of the card. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's definitely mine. Cherry. All right, so there are our 2 cards featuring the same products, just the washi tape versus the stamp and stencil. This is actually from Amazon. It's just a jewel picker I found on Amazon. It's like dual tip rhinestone picker or nail art, something or other. Okay, let me get the camera flipped around and we will say goodbye really quickly. All right. So sorry I went 20 minutes over. 2 cards is hard for me to do in an hour, but thanks for hanging in there with me. I hope you guys enjoyed my cards today. Thanks so much for catching my live. I'm not sure how the rest of the week looks like live wise, if we're going to do Facebook Live or not. Kind of depends on schedules and how Heather is feeling. So just keep your eyes peeled for both our social media and I know, hurry before more trolls find us. Keep an eye peeled on social media and sign up for emails and you'll know for sure if we're going to do the live. Other than that, you guys have a great rest of your day. And we will see you sometime later. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.